Now, Emmanuel Macron has just a few months left in office. France now looking forward to the presidential election, which is set to take place in 2027. The dates for the presidential vote have just been released, with the first round set to take place on April 18th, with the second round scheduled for 2 weeks later on the 2nd of May. For more on all of this, we can bring in our French politics editor, Mark Perlman. Mark, good to see you. I couldn't help but notice that the second round is taking place a day after May Day. The month of May, typically here in France, a lot of people keep going on vacation because there's so many public holidays. I'm just wondering, will that be the case here? And has there been any reaction to these dates?
Yes, you're not the only one thinking about this. One of the candidates, Bruno Retailleau, who's the conservative candidate, immediately criticized the choice of the government, not because it's going to be in the middle of some holidays, because there are spring holidays through April and May, because it's different geographical zones in France, but the fact that it takes place after May the 1st, Labor Day here in France. And his argument is that it is going to favor the left. Why? Because there are generally May Day demonstrations where the unions are out in droves. And he said doing this the very day before the vote will take place is unfair, because campaigning is officially stopping on the Friday night, and then he says on Saturday there'll be demonstrations in favor of the left. He said it will be politicized because we'll be on the eve of a crucial round two. The government says, well, this is already discussing petty things. The schedule is what it is. We had a choice. It was either April 11th or 25th, or April 18th and May the 2nd. We decided it's not a political choice. There are constitutional rules, and this will be the date. Obviously, the big question is not so much the date, but the outcome of this election in less than a year. We're 10 months away now.
So who's in the running for now?
Well, too many people. That's the problem. Well, we have two near certainties. On the far left, Jean-Luc Mélenchon will be a candidate for the fourth time for Freds and Bowed. We also know that there'll be a far-right candidate. It'll be either Marine Le Pen or Jordan Bardella. We'll know on July 7th, in a week's time, whether Marine Le Pen will be allowed, because there'll be a court decision on whether she is able to run. But that being said, if it's not her, it's going to be Jordan Bardella. And the polls are showing that there's not much difference between them, because they're clearly well ahead of the poll. And everyone believes that they'll be in the second round, that it's a shoe-in. So those are the two near certainties we have. And in between, it's one candidate declaring every day. On the left, they don't know how to organize. The socialists say they want to organize a primary between themselves and then with the rest of the left. Some are on the left are saying, no, we are going to designate someone through our own parties. So the socialists don't have a candidate right now. The Greens have a potential candidate, but they're saying we may ally ourselves either with the socialists or with the communists. So it's a big mess on the left, but they need to come up with one candidate if they want to stand a chance of making it into round two. The Macron camp is also in tatters, first of all, because they lost the election, and we have a fractured parliament, essentially because of the decision of Emmanuel Macron, and there's no clear heir. Two of his prime ministers, former prime minister, are in the running. Edouard Philippe, who is the best place according to the poll. Gabriel Attal is in the running. They'll have to decide, because if they run both, they're going to kill each other, and they'll not be able to be in the second round. And then I mentioned the conservative candidate, Bruno Retailleau. He's running also for the traditional right. Also, very few chances of making it to the second round on his own. So there's a real uncertainty. The only near certainty we have is that the National Rally will be in the second round. Who will face them will largely depend on who agrees to sacrifice. If there is only one candidate on the left and one candidate on the center-right, they might be able to challenge Jean-Luc Mélenchon and make it to the second round. But if there are too many candidates, the race will be totally wide open, and no one can tell you today for certain who will face the national rally on May the 2nd.